Welcome to the Advance Your Art podcast, where we talk about the journey from artist to entrepreneur and everything in between. You've worked hard to hone your craft. Now take it to the next level with tips, techniques, strategies, and routines used by successful artists to grow their businesses and careers. Now, let's get started and have some fun with your host, Yuri Cataldo.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Advance Your Art with Yuri Cataldo. If you're looking to learn how to build a company, make money from your art, or transition to a new career, you've come to the right place. Please remember that if you liked this episode, to please like and subscribe and share with a friend. Today I'm chatting with George Birrell, the head tax geek and founder of Taxhub.com. George, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. It's right in the middle of the tax season, so we're a little busy right now, but always happy to take time out to speak with people.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's also, so it's, obviously because of what's currently happening, it's weird to hear that June is tax season, but how has this year evolved, and how are you looking at this tax season right now?
It's been just an unprecedented set of events that have completely kind of upended our whole revenue model. So in the CPA world, we get about probably 85% of our revenue between January and usually April.
Yeah.
And that's all been pushed back, so we've had to change our budgets and things like that. But we're catching up, and everything's probably working out for the best. So we were able to get more clients this year because of the extended deadline, and that we can't complain about that. So yeah, but it's been crazy. We've had a lot of people that are asking us about the PPP loan and the EIDL loan and all those, and those laws keep evolving and changing rapidly, like almost every week. So It's been crazy, definitely.
I bet. Okay, so before we go too further, for my audience who is not familiar with what you do and your work, how do you describe yourself and what you do?
We're like an online version of a H&R Block office. So you come to our website. We have a portal where you schedule a call with a CPA. You can share documents, do all the billing. It's just like we've tried to recreate the face-to-face tax prep experience through our portal, and I think it's worked out pretty good. Our typical client is more like a solopreneur, freelancer, independent contractor, people who are beyond having just a W-2 but aren't big enough to go to like a full-time CPA firm. So that's kind of our niche. But yeah, we've been around for 3.5 years, been doubling in revenue every year, have a 75% plus customer retention rate, which in this industry is way above average. So people are really liking it, I think.
Great. So we'll skip ahead to this one. So the clients you work with normally, are they mostly based in the U.S. or are you a global company?
No, just strictly U.S. We're all CPAs in various states and completely U.S. We don't deal with any foreign tax filing.
Okay.
I don't think there's really any companies in the states that, unless it's like a full service or a big four CPA firm, usually it's just U.S. only. Okay.
So let's start from the beginning of this. What initially made you want to start Taxhub.com?
I was living in New York at the time. It was like around 2013, 14. It was kind of like the dawn of the Web 2.0, and a lot of professional service industries were being taken online. Financial services. Have you heard of a company called LearnVest?
Yes.
Okay, so they took financial advising kind of online to this hybrid model where you can actually work with a person online. So they did it. Some legal firms have been experimenting with it, and it really hadn't. Nobody had done it in the tax prep industry, not even like the big players like TurboTax back then. So I just saw an opportunity, and kind of just in New York, it's such an easy place to meet people. Just met the right people, put myself in the right orbits, and met a really good programmer, met somebody who's really deep into the New York advertising world, and kind of just created the brand in our spare time. We were all working, and took about a year to get the brand created and all the technology developed, the website and things like that. And then we launched, and the first year it was really, really tough because we're an unknown brand, and you have when you're working with a CPA, you're sharing all sorts of intimate financial information. So you have to have a ton of credibility, otherwise people will think, what am I doing here? This is just some internet. It could be in India or Africa or somewhere, stealing my information. So that was our biggest hurdle. We finally gotten over that, and just been growing a lot. Yeah, so there's a few other players that have kind of come up with the same model since then. We were really one of the first people to do this, to create a completely hybrid CPA office online. So, yeah.
Yeah. So could you, well, I guess let's first talk about what are the advantages of this? So, I work with a CPA actually in another state because he was cheaper. But what are some advantages to somebody who's like, you know what, I need to work with a tax professional, and they come across your website, and why will they get versus, let's say, trying to hire somebody who's local and probably a lot more expensive?
So the advantages are for a specific niche of customers, like I mentioned, the solopreneur types, contractors, freelancers. They're usually overlooked by CPAs, small office CPAs, because there's just not enough revenue in them. They need small businesses that have a few employees and have enough revenue to sometimes even hire a bookkeeper. So what we've done is we've really just brought at CPA level and quality tax advising and business advising to a new class of people who previously just weren't served by that. So it's cheaper because we have a much more efficient business model. We don't have either an office that sits empty 6 or 7 months out of the year, or we're not like H&R Block that has 1,000 offices. So we can undercut those people, and then it's just more convenient. It's a lot more convenient. You don't have to go to your CPA and go to his office, or go sit in line at a H&R Block or Liberty Tax office. It's more convenient. You can develop a relationship because with our business, you get that you're assigned a CPA, and then you stay with that same CPA throughout the year. So, yeah, it's just a much easier way to access our CPA level talent.
Yeah. So I guess walk me through then the process. So I go to your website, and I'm someone who needs a CPA, and I'm interested. So what does that, I know you said basically they sign up and then you kind of get matched up, but what's that process?
Yeah. So there's kind of two ways it's evolved that we found people like. There's one just really low commitment. You just have like a few questions that need to be answered. So you can schedule like a call with the CPA in 15-minute intervals. It's $29 for the first 15 minutes, and then $20 each additional. And we get people who are like doing their own taxes on TurboTax, but they have a question. but they want to file their own taxes. So they'll schedule a call with us, and they'll be doing their taxes, and we'll just answer whatever questions they have. They'll have 2 or 3 specific questions that a DIY software package can't really handle. So that's one way. That's the easiest, lowest commitment. You're just bing bang, you get your questions answered, and you're good to go. And then the next way is you just become one of our clients. You create the account, you get a dashboard, you get assigned a CPA, and then each of our plan, it usually starts at around $259. You get a federal and state tax filing for your individual and your business. And then what people really like is you get a CPA retainer for 1 year where you can ask unlimited questions. We're like kind of your business coach. So that's all packaged together in one package. So you're not worried about calling a CPA and getting charged $50 for a 10-minute call or something like that. So people really like that.
Yeah.
We found.
Good.
So those are the 2 main ways people work with us.
Okay. What about in the, I know it's becoming fewer and fewer far between these days, but what happens if you get audited? Do you have?
We sign the return. It's just same thing that would happen if you were working with a mom and pop CPA. We would back that up. We would provide whatever the IRS agent needed, and yeah, we'd be with you definitely.
Okay. Oh, good.
And
Excellent.
that's spelled out in the terms of service. So yeah, it's all completely guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, very cool. It sounds like a really convenient and interesting service. I'm curious, because you work with a lot of freelancers and creatives, and tax time is in 2020 is now coming up in July, which is, it's still odd to say. But what are some things that a lot of creatives or individuals forget that they can write off on their taxes, or a lot of things they overlook because taxes are probably the last thing they actually are thinking and caring about?
Yeah, we actually work with a lot of creatives. Like I said, we started in New York, and one of the founders was tied into the creative world. And so we just kind of naturally, just through word of mouth, got with a lot of like copywriters and art directors. So we've kind of learned a lot about that. There's a lot of unique deductions that creatives can take that they normally don't know about, even if they've already worked with CPAs. It's almost like a specialty. So say, for instance, like your cable TV. If you're in the advertising world and you're working with big Fortune 500 type clients, you need to stay abreast of the media trends and what's out there, and even sometimes the show. So you can actually, as a creative, in the right circumstance, write off your cable TV bill. You can write off subscriptions to like the Adage and Adweek and all those media outlets, trade show publications. You can write off going to seminars, ad seminars, and even like art classes. You can write that off. Even though it's if you're earning money as an artist, you take an art class, you think that it benefits you, but it's actually a business deduction because you are your business. So a lot of creatives don't realize that when they pay for art classes. Like there's the standard things like Adobe Photoshop and InDesign, so you can write off software and stuff like that. If you're an independent contractor, you can write off your home office and your rent. Those are kind of standard things. You can write off credit card interest that a lot of creatives don't realize, because creatives, when you work with a lot of freelancers, their income is it's not consistent. So sometimes they have to live off credit cards, and you can write off that interest as part of a business expense. And then like meals and entertainment, creatives can write that off if they go to like